Hello, everybody. My name is James Brown. I'm the Vice President of S.A.S.H, the Society for American Soccer History, and the co-organizer of the 1930 World Cup Conference and events that will be held this year in July 2020, as well as March 2021, also with events that will happen in between the two moments. And today I want to welcome Sebastián Salinas from Chile. Sebastián, how are you? Thank you for taking time to be with us. I appreciate it.
How are you? Everything's okay here in Chile.
As everybody knows, what we're doing, the idea of these interviews are just to really talk about the send-off and the departures, the preparation and the departures of the national teams who participated in the first World Cup. What we know is that after the 1929 FIFA Congress, the Chilean Federation decided to commit themselves and to go to the 1930 World Cup. And they made a very interesting choice very early on. They hired Hungarian Jorge Orth. And that was a choice that is quite mysterious because we don't know exactly how the Federation came to that decision, and even less is known in the newspapers, correct?
Chilean newspapers don't say the word about why Jorge Orth was picked. But it's a really great news. Federation picked new trainer for the national team. It's a headline to the sports section in every newspaper in Santiago, at least. But doesn't know why, and we don't know even who make the contact with him. Maybe embassy, maybe Chilean embassy or in some European country, maybe players which play in Chile and was in Europe. I think in Jose Rossetti, an Italian player which play in Chile, but returned to Italy in 1927. He keep in contact with his former mates. The only thing, the only word of Jorge Orth in Chilean newspaper, he was a player of the Hungarian national team. That's the only thing that the newspaper said.
Career. He played for quite a while. I think very close up and coming up towards the World Cup. So it's not like he was had been a coach for 10 years.
The Hungarian team in the Olympics of 1924. So as you said, doesn't have a training career. Which you said, wow, it's a very good trainer.
The Federation, the Chilean Federation, decides as early as April 1930, months away from the start of the World Cup. And what Jorge does, and I guess based on his European experience, is that what he does is he organizes a national championship. Yeah. And he scours throughout the country in order to choose, to pick and choose a number of players. And by April, if I'm correct, he had about 32 players. And what he did was he formed two teams. One was called the Whites and the Blues.
And the Blues.
To play against the stronger teams in Chile in order to weed the players out and come down to that final 19. So can you talk more about the preparation matches and also about the maybe the training methods that they might have used?
Jorge Orth arrived to Chile in April 2nd. April 2nd to 1930. Okay. And a few days later, he already prepared a trainer a training with the Colo-Colo players, the most powerful team in the country, from Santiago. He even in April 9th, Colo-Colo was already to the supervision of Jorge Hort. And to the April 11th, there's a friendly match between a few teams, one of the south of the Chile and one of the center part of Chile, and Hort supervised everything. And like you said, before that, after that, he made a mini championship between teams of the different parts of the country to pick the players. Even we know the first concentration of the players was in May 15th. It was a very hard work to do. And before the white and the blue teams, the teams are north zone, center zone, south zone of the Chile, south area, etc. There's a lot of games between these teams. And we know about the trainer. Jorge Hort has a assistant. The assistant was Enrique Teuche, as we said in Chile, because he has a German surname. His surname actually is Teuche, but in Chile it's known as Teuche. Enrique Teuche was a player in several years in the team Magallanes, one of the most powerful teams of these times and of those times in Chile, in Santiago, the capital. And Teuche was the first Chilean which wrote a book about the soccer preparation in late 20s. The first book about. So Teuche was a very recognized figure in the Chilean atmosphere, sporting atmosphere. So he was the physical trainer for the national team.
You know, in terms of all the preparations, you know, in the games that the whites and the blues played, they didn't have any losses. I think there was only one tie. But in terms of the preparations, there was a lot of intense jogging. There was gymnastics on the school courts, a lot of body preparation, a lot of massages, calisthenics, and then work with the ball. And that kind of reflects the preparation that the United States team had once they got to Uruguay, because they basically never touched a ball, but they really spent more time on the gymnastics part and the physical preparation. So it seems to be a very common philosophy, especially with trainers and physiotherapists.
Official program for a regular day for the Chilean national team preparation was like that. Wake up 7 in the morning. Breakfast between 7 and 8. Walk around the concentration center like an hour. Gymnastics, calisthenics, and training with the ball 11:30 and 13:30.
Okay.
2 hours for lunch.
It's very European.
Yeah. A break between 13:30 and 15, and then for 15 to the sunset, play with the ball.
Okay.
That's the most strong part of the training. And then try to relax. Go to the cinema, go to the theater, walk to the city, because in the program the players want to sleep, go to sleep to 20 hours, 22 hours, maybe 3 hours in the afternoon, only with the ball, only with the. But that's an influence because Chile, and especially Colo-Colo, the most powerful team, try to imitate the Uruguayan and Argentinian way to play. The way to imitate was prepare some tactics, try to play with the ball low, not high. That's the characteristic of the. Even when Colo-Colo returned to the trip to Europe in 1977, 1927, the Chilean newspaper says this is the first time we see way to play soccer, way to play football in Chile.
Okay.
And it's the Argentina Uruguayan way to play this time. So there's a lot of influence, and of course we have to remember Uruguay was the most powerful team.
So at the end of these competitions and the tournament, they whittled their group down to 19 players. And there were 9 players, if I'm correct, that were from Colo-Colo.
Yeah.
So that's a huge representation, of the team. That's basically half the team. So that's a very strong influence, and that's the team that went to Europe. So they already have this firsthand knowledge of European football and the way that it's going to be effective in a tournament, a global tournament. So that's a very good experience to have when you're coming up against teams like Romania, Belgium, France, depending on who's in your group.
Remember the trip of Colo-Colo, 19 also play in Mexico, and Mexico was the first rival. So several Chilean players know how the Mexican players play, and Mexico in these times was a very low level. Even we know for the Mexican football history of the Mexican football, the trip of Colo-Colo was the first international club which make a difference in the way to perceive the play. And the streets said, "I am Subiabre, I am Arellano." It's a very so. Chile play against Mexico, which very players knows about France in the trip to the Olympics, and after that play in France.
Yeah.
And of course, Argentina. So Chile knows his 3 rivals of the group. Yeah.
Even if half your team is made up from one club team, they really have the experience that's needed to go into a World Cup. So that's very good. So now we talk about the departure, and it was July 3rd at 7:30 in the morning that they took off from the Mapocho station
train station,
the Trans-Andean Railway.
Yeah.
and they're heading towards to Mendoza. But they were seen off by a large crowd of Chilean supporters.
There's a triumphalist in the sport supporters, because we have to remember not only the Colo-Colo trip, which have a very successful results. Also in Olympics in 1928, Chile won his first Olympic medal. An athlete, Manuel Plaza, at the marathon, Chile is most capable than years before. Even in 1925, Chilean boxer fight for the world championship.
It's good to know that you have the people behind you, and a rich combative sense of, you know, honor and pride, and you know, we want to excel on the big stage, you know, on the Olympic stage, on the, you know, where everybody is competing and making a difference. They took off over the Andes mountain, and they arrived in Mendoza, and then they headed on their way to Buenos Aires. How was the trip? Towards Buenos Aires?
In Mendoza, changed to another train, so they arrived to Buenos Aires. Chile has luck of this trip, because there's no snow in the Los Andes.
Okay.
And the players, most of the players make a trip before, because the most perturbing experience is ear problems, because the high. But for this time, we have no notice about problems of the troubles in the players. It seems to be a really nice trip. Doesn't have any detentions, so we have to remember arrive to Buenos Aires to pick the transfers, to the ship to Montevideo.
We arrived on the 5th of July, and then spent the night in the Hotel Retiro in the capital, and with the Association Amateurs of Argentinian Football. And so before crossing over the Rio de la Plata to go to Montevideo, they also met up with the Peruvian national team.
I think I know you know best. I think every trip was a arrangement by the Uruguayan Federation, no? I think.
I mean, all the expenses were taken care of, the travel.
So pick with the Peruvian national team, and that's a really a good question, because maybe the Peruvian team has a travel more softly if pick the train in Chile and cross not for the Magallanes Strait, not the Chilean make a coincidence because the schedule.
But also that's one of the best things about this World Cup, is that the idea is that the very basis of the World Cup, you know, the thought and the philosophy behind Jules Rimet's thinking very, very early on, was that football is a federator. It's a federator of all social classes. And it helps to ease tensions. It helps to mend wounds, you know, and troubles between countries, or you know. So it is a very powerful tool that's used in many, many ways, on many levels, political levels, on the field. you know, as we see with Enrique Buero Sr. and all the work that he did to get everybody over from Europe. You know, so I think that's a great testament to the philosophy and the meaning of the World Cup. So once Peru and Chile arrive in Montevideo, they head over. You know, they head over to the Plaza Independencia, and at the foot of the Artigas monument, the Jules Rimet, Alf are there, and as well as the other clubs. And with there was a ceremony. The Chile. There was a ceremony of the celebration and the honoring of being in, you know, arriving for the World Cup, and then they were escorted to the Hotel des Anglais, and that's where, and that's in the neighborhood of Pocitos. They stayed with the Yugoslavian team and the American team.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a great bond that we share. You know.
We have to remember one of the first acts to try to calm the tension between Chile and Peru was sent football clubs to play to the other country. 1928, Peruvian team comes to Chile, and a Chilean team goes to Peru. In 1929, first things that governments do for calm the tensions between Peru and Chile. In 1928, a Peruvian team comes to Chile, and a Chilean team goes to Peru to play. But in 1929, Colo-Colo was sent to Peru in an official embassy for the peace. Put on Colo-Colo this responsibility. So the football was a great tool for.
You know, and we have, we're very fortunate. I've had the honor of meeting Jules Rimet's grandson, Yves Rimet. And he lives in the south of France, just above Nice, on the Mediterranean. And I'm hoping to be able to speak with him over the next few weeks. He is he has still got such a great memory, and he does a very good job of honoring his father's memory. You know, just as Juan Buero Harley, who is the grandson of Enrique Buero Sr., you know, and I've spoken with him. So they're very good keepers of, you know, of this history and the honor and the hard work that their grandfathers, you know, undertook in trying to make sure that this World Cup would happen. Because as of May, there were no European teams. So you can imagine 2 months before the World Cup, and there were no dedicated teams from Europe. So that was a lot of hard work on both of their sides. You are also a teacher of history, and you've written some books. And tell me about the book that you have with you. I want you to just to explain the idea of that.
For limited edition about the history of Chilean national team until 2010. But the most famous book wrote by me was this. This is the history of Colo-Colo team in its first 8 years. From 1925 to 1933, because that's the amateur years of the club. Professionalism in Chile starts in 1933, and Colo-Colo was one of the primary supporters of that.
Right.
But in every book of Colo-Colo, no one researched the amateur years.
Right.
And there's a book very important, wrote in 1975 when Colo-Colo has 15 years. Almost every book about the club since this book copy of the information. So we research almost every newspaper in Chile.
Okay,
I have
great work.
this book is 2004. Solicited copies to libraries to Portugal, Spain, Mexico, Ecuador,
Okay.
Cuba, even Argentina, Uruguay, and because Colo-Colo was I have to research the World Cup and the Olympics.
Like I look forward to learning more about Colo-Colo, and I'm definitely going to buy the book, and I'll make sure that everybody has information at the end of the interview so that they can access it and purchase it. Taking time out of your busy schedule to be with me, and I look forward to coming back with you in the next few weeks to talk about the next. Now to talk about Chile in Uruguay, and how they went through the group stages and how that trip went for them overall.
We see you later, and okay, no problem. See you later.
Thank you so much. You take care.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.